Hey guys, welcome back to ArtosisCasts. If you are watching this just from the playlist at any point in time that it was not just released, ignore what I'm about to say, but to those of you who do come in daily, looking for your daily dose of some StarCraft 1 Pro matches, welcome back to the CNSL Season 6. I hope that you guys did find some enjoyment in the VODs from the LAN tournament in New York City that I competed in and did some commentating on. But now we're going to jump back in and finish up the CNSL Season 6. Sorry about that delay in there, but you know, I've mentioned before, LAN tournaments are literally why I do this. It is the most fun thing literally in the entire world. So yeah, anyways, here we are. We're in game number 3 of a best of 7 in the round of 4. We have Soso, the last remaining Terran, here in the bottom left. And in the bottom right, we have Tulbo, aka YSC. And of course, he does lead 2-0, so needs a couple more map wins if he's going to take this off of Soso. You know, I think the games have been pretty good, pretty solid so far. Of course, we had Vermeer and Heartbreak Ridge as the previous 2 maps, which Tulbo was able to take down, or YSC, sorry, I'm like looking at the ID. But yeah, I think that there is definitely still potential here for Soso. I am a big Soso fan. I think he's a great player, and I like his style against Protoss. So let's see what he's going to bust out here for us to see. YSC looks like he's going cross-map for his first scout here off of a gateway. Yeah, it's like a weird way to play, but you can play a little bit differently, right? Like, noticing this with the 2 pylons, he might be thinking, oh, if he's cross-map, maybe I'll go, Zealot pressure into, well, I was going to say into a Nexus or something like that, but looks like he puts the gas up before he actually gets to that main base. So if he scouts to the right-hand side, he's definitely going to be in a little bit of trouble, because he's not going to find Soso for a long, long time. Oh my god, he just caught the tail end of that vision, and the SCV did not catch vision of the probe. So see, the probe was leaving, and its circle of vision had just barely not faded out, and he saw the edge of the SCV. So he knows that Soso is coming from the bottom left. Kind of crazy. Very lucky moment right there for YSC. Otherwise, again, it would have taken him a very long time to end up scouting Soso. Now, looking at the build that Soso is doing here, he is doing the double depot gasless expansion. This is the safest form of the gasless expand. It makes your factory a few seconds later than if you go for the command center before the second depot, but it gets you a couple Marines. So when this happens, you don't just instantly die. If this was the 1 gas, or the 1 depot version, he would be in terrible trouble. But here we go. Some SCVs drilling down. That was actually an excellent drill, but just barely they popped over the Zealot. Amazing control here from Soso so far, taking 0 hits on his 2 Marines. Honestly, if he had screwed this up at all, this would have gone pretty badly as 1 Marine massacres 2 Zealots. But as we see, just beautiful, beautiful micro here from Soso. He's going to be able to get that bunker up, and YSC not going to get any damage. Back at home, he is making a Dragoon. He is getting range, and it looks like he's getting ready to make this Nexus. Soso sees the Nexus go down, so he has a great deal of information. Of course, both sides do. And we should be seeing that factor go up momentarily here for Soso. Now, I would say overall this is like pretty even overall. Maybe slight advantage to our Terran player. And that would be because he did kill that Zealot, losing basically nothing. Obviously, his factory isn't super fast, and there is the possibility that YSC puts on some heavy pressure with ranged Dragoons, but honestly, he's not. It doesn't look like he's like super heavily committing, right? Like, he has 1 Dragoon here. His second one just popped out. He's getting the Robo, right? Like, he's trying to fit in these other things into the build. So he was going to be able to force some repair time. And there is the possibility that we'll see Soso go for siege mode because of that. Now, if he does go for siege mode, that does slow down all other things that you would want to do in this situation. Soso is getting 2 factories, which is pretty normal stuff. And yeah, with that Robo coming up, we're not sure if this is going to be like a quick Reaver or a quick Observer from YSC, but both can be completely fine in this situation. Meantime, range just now finishes up. He already had those goons on that hold position at the bunker, so we'll be able to force a couple of SCVs to come off and start repairing. And let's see if we get siege or not. Yeah, he starts siege immediately, right? So that's kind of the scary thing. You don't know exactly how many dragoons are coming. If they end up having 3 or less and you got siege mode, you feel kind of dumb. If they get 4, then it's like, okay, well, 4 is dangerous. That's where you can 2-shot a tank. So this is going to end up being a very smart move to get that siege mode, I would say. We don't actually have the 4th one coming up, but you never know in this situation, right? Now, the support bay is coming up. The shuttle is almost done here as well. Observatory coming up at the front also. So it is going to be Reaver. He's going to be getting some observers as well. And you can see this is now lifted. This is generally you do that to hide below it, but it's only 3 Dragoons. So he doesn't even have to be that careful, truly. He is getting some good quality hits. The 4th Dragoon comes up. So you do still definitely have to be a little bit careful. But as this sieges, YSC gonna lose 1 goon and walk back. Okay, let's take a look at where we're at in this game. So the Reaver's gonna be popping out. 2nd gate gets started. Observatory is done. I think we'll see an observer probably after this Reaver. Yeah, there it gets queued up. And in fact, he is making Zealot to put in the shuttle as well. Now looking over at the side of Soso. So he's got 2 factories. He's about to have 3 tanks with siege. He's making his missile turret ring. He's already got the 2nd gas, and he has an armory on the way. So this is a very turtled opening. As you can see, there's not any real pressure that Soso is looking to put on his opponent, right? 4 missile turrets thus far. And in fact, like, this is a little bit dangerous. You can kind of fly through. There's like kind of areas where you can sneak through with 1 to 2 turret hits only. And of course, like he brings everything up to the front, but you don't want to attack here. Now, is he going to dive bomb onto this siege tank? That is a real possibility. Drops out a Zealot, drops out the Reaver, so that will be going down with 1 Reaver shot. Pretty darn big move right there. And in fact, kind of a... I can't believe that he just lost that. Oh, that's rough. There honestly no real reason for YSC to end up losing the shuttle there, because as soon as he loses the shuttle, down goes the Reaver as well. So some poor control there from YSC for a moment, and that's going to hurt a bit. I mean, you're feeling pretty comfortable right now as a Terran player, right? Like, you've got a great SCV count. Look at this. He's got 47 SCVs. He's getting his speed of mines, adding another factory, has his +1 going, good amount of siege tanks. He's killed several units so far, right? A Dragoon, a Shuttle, a Reaver, a Zealot. So that's pretty reasonable. Now he's scouted the 3rd base. So, he's got a good idea of what's going on. Is he going to try a push? Now, speed and mines are not done yet, but there is some potential here because he did kill that shuttle. If that shuttle's out, you don't do this. So definitely YSC with a bit of a mistake allowing that to die. Now, the siege tanks coming over with the Marines, they're in a line right now, so not the best formation to actually fight. Siege is up 3 in the back, and YSC just going to dive upon everything. Kind of a messy engage there for a moment. And you can see YSC is actually going to be able to kill absolutely everything. The fact that he gets 6 siege tanks right now, trading just a handful of his Dragoons, is... I mean, that's awesome for YSC. You're feeling kind of bad about that. As Soso, but he is adding on more factories. So there's a possibility here that he tries a follow-up push. He is getting his 3rd command center on location, which is pretty nice to see. But yeah, YSC in the meantime, getting his speed upgrade for his shuttle, getting more Reavers out here as well, more gases, all that good stuff. Forge on the way. Kind of a I'm not sure what to call it. They've definitely wounded each other. They've definitely kind of almost sloppily lost a few units here and there. But, a lot of times you look at this and say, well, he lost 6 siege tanks. That's going to really push back any push timing so much that, YSC should be ahead. So, like, I could be okay with someone saying YSC's ahead. But honestly, like, he did force him to make a lot of units, YSC to make a lot of units. He did trade for a lot of units. But really, when you kill those tanks, I think you should instantly be making another Nexus. And I do feel like that's a little bit off for YSC. He's taken a while. He is finally sending his probe up, but realistically, if you kill 6 siege tanks, it's like the only thing that can occur at that point is vultures running around. And a Nexus doesn't really care about that. So it's like, okay, do I have enough to defend against vultures running around? Like here, well, here it's like one goon and whatever rallies, and then maybe a couple goons up here. But yeah, I would have liked to see this a little bit quicker from YSC. Is getting ready for that 4th base location. Don't forget, Retro is one of our economy light maps. This is a 12, or if you count the center, and, you know, actually Terran does expand to the center, so maybe you should, but a 13 expansion map, which means that it's kind of hard to roll your opponent over with just economy on this map, right? Like, so for instance, this is probably not takeable by YSC, so his 5-base formation would be, right, these 3 that he already has, and then these 2 in the top right, and then everything else starts going towards the other side of the map. So, yeah, it's one where, as, you know, in TVP, there's certainly things about playing Terran here where it's like, oh, you lose 1 maxed army, you might not get a second one. But at the same time, you know, Protoss is not going to be getting 8, 9 bases like we see on some of these maps. It's just not a realistic, feasible situation on this map. Now, YSC coming out, he's going to go ahead and clear some of these mines. We have a drop ship from Soso. More tanks and vultures just being produced. Looks like it's going to be a tank 2 vulture drop. These have really actually come back into popularity a little bit lately. You know, for a long time we had really just like vulture drops going on, but putting in 1 siege tank, I have found, and many pros have found, to be quite effective right now. It's like it definitely takes more to clean up than something like those vultures. Now, here comes this dropship. Let's take a look. Flies right over that cannon. Takes a few hits. There's a Zealot here in the main base, and there is, in fact, another cannon as well. We'll see. Does he have a spot here? Don't think it really matters, because we have these... oh, man, that's good targeting. We have those Zealots walking in, so... Might get 1 good volley. Yeah, gets a pretty good target there, but actually only ends up killing 1 probe with that. So maybe 3-4 probes go down. Cannon almost falls as well, but that's basically cleared. Now, in the meantime, this is the big news, is he kills a lot of probes that were transferring to another base. So very good harassment there by Soso. Suddenly we're at 72 SCVs against 56 probes. So that's not a very high probe count. You really want at least 10 more probes than that. Probably that's about it. Honestly, in YSC, I know specifically does like those mid-60 probe counts. So he's going to want to refill that a little bit. We have a reasonably turtled up base here. No Marines in there. You definitely, if you have a bunker, you want at least 1 Marine in there. Even 1 Marine actually really screws up Protoss quite a bit. But if you have none, obviously that is the least scary thing in the whole world. More factories being added for Soso. YSC double speed shuttle with, well, some High Templars, but mostly Zealots, and then a bunch of Zealots here as well. Not sure what this positioning is all about. And in fact, he is making a hell of a lot of Zealots here. How many goons does he actually have? Okay, so he has a group of 4 up there. And then he has this group here, right? So it's like literally just 10 Dragoons, then Zealot High Templar. So what this probably is going to be just like a very large attack. Maybe he waits for Soso to move out. But his army is like, okay, it's scary, but it doesn't have a lot of staying potential. If you can absorb those Zealots reasonably well, like this is the type of army that you don't even really need your stuff sieged against. In fact, if it's too sieged, that's where you can get in trouble because the Zealots are going to draw so many hits in that way. Now, 2-1 is almost done here for our Terran player. Does have a few Marines rallying up here. Looks like, I don't know, maybe he produced those afterwards. Maybe those came out of the bunker, not entirely sure. 3rd add-on coming on, which definitely he does want. You can see that gas starting to peak. It's kind of a tricky thing when to get that 3rd add-on, right? Do you wait for 3-2 to start? Do you wait for EMP to be spent? Do you just get it a little bit quicker when you have your 3rd gas? There's a lot of different ways that you can play that. But now that he has that, a lot more siege tanks will be added in. Honestly, looking pretty good for our Terran player. In the meantime, the 5th base is going up here for YSC. So 5 base against 3, you definitely, that's putting pressure on the Terran player to get a 4th. And, well, he has a few vultures up here, which I really like, by the way. That denies the other easiest base for YSC. Now, this push out it's starting to occur. Right? He's almost got EMP, almost enough energy for EMP. A few range Goliaths in here. Siege tanks pushing forward. He's got to be careful about all these spider mines. You know, it can be deadly when you go and siege on top of your own spider mines there. Some more Dragoons have been added in to kind of give a little bit more staying power, more consistent damage to this force. Still mostly Zealots in these shuttles, but High Templars on the ground as well. This base, I mean, there is some counterattack potential here. It kind of looks like that's what he's thinking about. This one siege tank won't hold things for long. But if you get your army up, like, look, he's moving up in time. And if you move up here in time, this army can't do anything. Right? You'd have to get a big chunk of this army on top of here through the depots before the reinforcements came. As is, you know, so moved his units up there, so YSC runs back. Does have those 1-1 upgrades. Of course, 3-2 is on the way here for Soso. Is he thinking? Yeah, he's definitely thinking about taking this base. Has a command center ready for that as well. Has a good solid 9 factories. Very, very healthy production. Both sides are max. Both sides kind of similar as far as the worker count goes. There is a 7-worker advantage here for Soso, but honestly, it's not even an advantage. Again, in this matchup in particular, you are looking closer to the mid-60s as far as workers, and especially on 3 base, 74 it's overkill. Like, look at how quickly he's mining out, right? He's going to have very few patches very soon, and this is a base where the 4th base is hard to get. So, might be overdoing it slightly with those workers, but not the end of the world. Now, coming up, getting a good spread in Siege. This is incredibly powerful. Incredibly powerful right now. Runs up some Vultures, picks off some High Templars. This is a great dividing structure here in the center. If you have something like this in the center of the map, it's like, okay, well, Protoss has to go this way or this way, and you can treat it as 2 smaller areas instead of as 1 massive area. It actually makes a big, big difference as Terran to have something like that there. So he's got these 2 areas continuing to push over. YSC, his entire army up here, but look at this. He's taking another main base. This is something you have to be very wary of. This is where Protoss will start to run you over as far as that economy goes. But right now, both sides, very similar banks. You know, over 4K minerals on both sides, over 1K gas on both sides as well. But now Soso has spread himself so far that he's killing this 3 o'clock base, but still defending over here. You can see, well, I didn't see what happened there. Maybe it was a Psy Storm. I bet you that's what it was. But trying to get that command center. Like I said, Terran does expand to that spot. Now, the shuttle's coming in. They want to try to slow this base down from dying. I think he assumes the base probably will die, but maybe he can be cost-efficient against this. A couple decent storms go down. But the Vulture's getting in that 1 photon cannon, doing a pretty good job here, making it a little bit harder to kill these probes off. But as more units come up from Soso, YSC definitely going to end up losing this base. Down is going to go the shuttle. Down is going to go that High Templar as well. And that means 3 o'clock going to be done for YSC, at least for now. But again, this is a pretty long spread. Of course, he has this reasonably well-defended base, and he's taking this base. If he can secure this and this becomes just a very winning game for Soso. But YSC goes up the ramp. And, well, I mean, he's denying this base, but the push in is a little bit deadly, right? Like, he's killing a bunch of the units that are rallying out right now. You're going to have to reset those rallies. In the meantime, YSC attacks to the south. This new base looks like it's probably going to go down. That is a ton of SCVs and a science vessel with no protection whatsoever. All of it is going to die. The command center is going to die. Not even canceled there. And he denied this base. Not just denied, killed the command center. So suddenly we went from this position where it's like, guys, if he secures this and this, he's going to win, to he lost both the command centers. Okay, they both right now still have good banks. A little bit better bank here for a Protoss player. Similar supplies, similar worker counts. And there is another base that's going to die here for YSC. So who's winning this game? Well, no minerals. We're getting low. I would say YSC maybe right this second has a slight advantage, but it's pretty darn close, honestly. You know, there's still a lot of play here on both sides. YSC coming in, spreading those Zealots out, getting on top of a lot of these siege tanks. Yeah, gonna get a storm off over there as well. Now, as he breaks through here, this is incredibly important, right? He's got a bunch of gateways up here. He's got a bunch of gateways up here, and obviously has a ton of gates in there. As he breaks through this push everywhere, it's like, okay, well, you've broken these. There's nothing up here for Terran. You can clear this very easily now. And suddenly, Terran is back in this 3-base quadrant in the bottom left of the map, and without any additional mining going on. So this is looking like YSC, after breaking that, has taken a big advantage. Now, a double drop coming up. This is actually a big, big move. Honestly, killing that pylon might be the play. Goes after the Nexus for now, but you can see Zealots coming out. That might help to clean him up. Terran trying to attack cross map. This is always hard to do. You have a lot of areas that you can be flanked from. You're really far away from everything. We'll see what ends up happening with it as units are being made out of all the gateways right now. All right, that Nexus being pummeled by the siege tanks. He probably, at this point, should just target it and make sure he gets the kill. Yeah, he gets that kill. Very well done, and will end up losing the rest of these units. But that is a Nexus kill, which is incredibly important in a game like this, and in fact, might get another one here. That would bring YSC down to 1 mining base, and well, I guess soon 2, but this doesn't have a lot of minerals left over there. Now, a lot of shuttles going across the map right now for YSC. Looks like he wants to try to save this area. That is a lot of Goliath, so he has to be very, very careful about trying to get in there. If these Goliaths get shift-clicked onto the shuttles, they are going to die very quickly, but they should be able to get a decent amount of units out. Excuse me. Now, here we go. And that is good shift-clicking. You can see he kills off multiple shuttles before they unload all the way, but all the units coming down from that main base as well. The Nexus ends up dying, so still a ton of damage being put out there by Soso. Stops another mining location, so we have this base mining. Still no probes here, but he definitely can send some there, even though there's not a lot. Remaking this Nexus in the top. Has a couple cannons here, but no Nexus as of yet. Very low as far as the worker count goes. And a continued push here up in the top right. We also have Terran taking that middle expansion. Very, very important that he holds onto that. In fact, this might be a little bit too much what he's doing here, right? As the tanks get picked off, well, I mean, if you hit with some mines, it's definitely going to change the math of it. But Vultures and Goliaths in general don't do that well against Dragoons, but the overwhelming numbers kind of help him out there. But will have to pull back as the Dragoons start to take that battle over. Reasonably turtled up position in the center. It's not perfect, but, you know, a turret, some tanks, very good upgrades, of course. Getting some mining done. Needs to float this over and take that base as well, but doesn't really have a containment here. Right, there's 3 locations that are reasonable for attacking. The bottom right to deny this remade Nexus, but also the massive gateways that could rally out. The top right, because we know about 2 bases, and the top left. I don't know if he knows that this was remade, but I think he would probably assume that. So there's a lot of places that you want to think about attacking here. And it definitely does make for some harder decisions. Now, Soso coming up has a lot of tanks and vultures. This has not been remade, this Nexus. YSC. Well, I mean, he's pretty darn low on supply. He's like 50 supply down. Definitely a much better standing army that we see here for Soso. But the bases, I mean, you're mining a lot, and Soso's literally not mining. Every time that he has to stop mining here, that's no income for him. As you can see, no new units being fielded. So, like, already he was up like 40 supply. Now it's much less, you know, 25, 26 supply difference. A lot of SCVs being sent out to try to mine from that central base. Definitely needs to get it heavily, heavily saturated. Does not mine with any good efficiency. These are terribly placed batches, but still a good base for Terran to take. Continuing to push up towards this top right. Honestly, with the amount of units up here, pushing up a ramp into this wide open area, this is not going to go well. This is not going to go well. Honestly, I think that in this type of situation, you should back up. This is just too much army, too many gateways. Like right now, it still looks like a good place for Soso. In fact, as he holds these attacks, well, that was a pretty darn good size storm, but still 13 kills. Oh my god. Oh my god, I can't even believe that. 2 more tanks go down. I guess he'll just barely hold this. But yeah, I'm just saying, this is something I see all the time from pro gamers, from every Terran on Earth will do attacks like this, and it's hard to finish off a base like this. It's incredibly hard to do. So let's see, can YSC end up holding on? Sends in a spread of these Zealots, the Dragoons coming in as well. Wow, the mine's actually doing a fantastic job. Those tanks taking a lot of damage, and, you know, I stand corrected. Very excellent push here. It's working like a charm right now for our Terran players. Soso doing a good job pushing through. But is he going to continue to be able to hold the center? Is he going to be able to take one more base as well? This base now mined out, by the way. So we have this top left that has, like, not the greatest probe saturation, and then here that has almost nothing. Yeah, I mean, this really looks like we're going to have a Terran victory here. Just a few Dragoons in the center obviously can't hold up against these siege tanks. So as those siege tanks go out, we are going to see GG and a victory here for Soso as he gets his name on the board.